we're talking about questions where, gosh, the thief might or might not have to return something. And of course, we have a general principle that whether it's a theft or a loan or a breach of trust or a deposit that went wrong somehow, you have to return it. The basic principle is you have to return it. We were talking about issues of yiush, issues where the owner might or might not have given up hope. And then in the middle of the 10th chapter, so we're in the 5th Mishnah of the 10th chapter, we're going to get into a field, Hagozel Sadeh. Someone's stolen a field. And one of the interesting features about ownership of land in halakha, and we said it's the same with humans, by the way, which is that you cannot steal a field. In other words, when we say you cannot steal a field, obviously you can take possession of the field and put an armed guard on it and stop people getting in. But the fundamental title to that field has not changed. It's not like the theft of a movable object where we've said, oh yeah, the thief has actually acquired it when he takes it. So he's responsible for, well, any damage that that object might cause. If he steals an ox and the ox gores, he's responsible for the goring. A field is different. It's not really his. But let's explore the Mishnah. Hagozel Sadeh. Someone stole a field or steals a field. Unjlaluha amazikim. And the oppressors came and took it from him. We don't really understand who these oppressors are. And Jastrow actually quotes a source that suggests we could read it matzikim. Latzik is definitely to oppress in classic Hebrew, but this is with a samech, hamasikim. Anyway, these are clearly bandits of some kind, but maybe like modern corporate bandits, they're pseudo-legal. So someone has come along. The thief has stolen the field. Someone has come along and has taken it from the thief. The thief doesn't have it anymore. And the Mishnah continues, in makat medinahu. Maybe it was a blow over the whole district. This is why we think these are kind of corporate or semi-corporate or governmental bandits, right? Maybe they've annexed land over the whole district. Maybe they've thrown farmers off their land. I mean, it happened in England in the Middle Ages. Farmers were just thrown off their land. But the point is that if that's the case, the thief is no longer responsible. He never really had possession of that field anyway. Legally, it belonged to the original owner. And so the Mishnah rules, in makat medinatu, if it was a general thing that happened in the area, omerlo harei shelach lefanecha. You can say, look, here's what is yours in front of you. In other words, I took this field and it was always yours and I don't have it anymore. This guy over here has it. And hey, it's your problem. It's not my problem. Even if I hadn't taken it from you, you would still have the problem with these corporate raiders. But there's always a but in the Mishnah. Maybe the corporate raiders took it from him because of him. Maybe they didn't like him, or maybe they took it to settle a debt, or maybe he committed a crime. Maybe they took it because of him. If they took it because of the robber, so it's because of his possession that the original owners lost the field. He has to provide him with a field. By implication, another field. He's got to make it good. By the way, many versions of the Mishnah, not our version, has acheret. He's got to provide him with a different field. But with or without the word acheret, the meaning is pretty clear. If his actions have contributed to the bandits taking his field, he has to make the original owner good in some way. Shatafuha nahar. What if the river just swept it away? So the river's just flooded and swept away this field. Now, of course, that is like the whole district suffering. I mean, even if he hadn't stolen the field, the original owner would still have suffered when the river flooded. Shetafu nahar. So if the river floods, washes it away, or merlo hare shelach lefanecha. He just says, oh yeah, here's your field. You can have your field. Fine, it was flooded, but if you'd maintained ownership over it, as you have legally, it would still be flooded. So you own a flooded field. So that's great. What if the object moved? Hagozelet chavero, or shilava heimenu, someone who stole something, or who borrowed from him, or shehifkilo, or someone who received it as a deposit. But Yoshev, he did all this stuff in town. He did it in town. So we received, let's say, the racing bike in town. Lo yachzir lo bamidbar. We don't return it to him in the desert. So if we got a return, we've already said, for example, that a lost object has to be returned to the owner as far away as Iran. If the owner's in Iran and there are riots, you still have to go there and return the object to him. But that assumes he is kind of where he's supposed to be. If he's traveling in the desert, you don't have to take the thing out. You cannot, you may not take the thing out to him there and say, oh yeah, here it is, and you're responsible for getting it home. Now, if he deposited on condition that he was going out in the desert, or that you were going out in the desert, perhaps, al manat latzeit bamidbar, on condition of going out in the desert. Really interesting, the Mishnah is ambiguous about who is going out, but clearly there's some language at the beginning of the transaction that indicates someone's going out. Al manat latzeit bamidbar, on condition of going out in the desert. Someone's going out. Yachzir lo bamidbar. At that point, he can give it back to him in the desert. So, as we've seen before, really, if something is understood up front, if the condition is understood up front on both sides, then it seems to hold.